I remember when we were in college, and we were in that not dating period. And we had a first argument, and Donovan grabbed my hand and he said, "Let's pray." And so in that moment, I knew that this was the direction that our relationship was going to go, and it was the direction that I wanted our relationship to go. And so I think for us, it has always been the center of our relationship. And so we've just been able to really lean on God and our faith in moments of challenge, great moments as well. And so I think that's something that is really stands out for how we like to operate as a foundational piece.
You're listening to Real Love, Real Stories, a podcast to share, to learn, and thrive in love. So no matter where you are on the love continuum, this is the place to be. My name is Kanu and I'm the host, and thank you so much for being here. Welcome you guys to Real Love, Real Stories. I'm really excited to have you on. So let's start with introductions.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Donovan.
And we're the Williams.
Yes, we're the Williams.
I felt like a TV show just now, and we're the Williams.
We're the Williams. And where do you guys call home?
Well, we live in Summerville, South Carolina, which is right outside of Charleston. I'm originally from this area. Whitney's from Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. Well, thanks for taking time to chat with me. I'm excited to explore and hear about your journey, your love journey. So why don't you guys start us off by talking about how did you guys meet and what's been your love journey like? Let's talk about how did you guys meet?
Okay. It was the first day that we moved into Clemson University, our freshman year. So Clemson does this thing. It's probably pretty country now that I think about it. They have a party at Walmart for freshmen.
Walmart? Oh my God.
Yeah. And the transit system in Clemson, we have what we call CAT buses. This is what takes students to the different places. But the CAT buses were taking us to Walmart. So young, happy freshmen on the way to the Walmart party. It was me and my best friend, John, and we were getting on the bus, got on the bus, and I saw this young lady. She just locked eyes with me, and then I just knew I had her from there.
Yeah. Sure, that was the case.
No, what actually happened, we were just having conversations with some of her friends, actually, and she was ignoring the conversation. That was really the first time we met. And then later on that night, we happened to be going to the same place with people that both of us knew, but didn't realize that we knew them. And it was like, I think you said this guy again or something like that.
Yeah, and we ended up having to sit in the back seat together. And I just remember we were all scrunched in the back seat because it was way too many of us to be in that car. And I remember just being like, "Don't touch my booty."
Yeah, and so that was the beginning of our love story.
Okay, you meet that night, and then you ended up being in the same car, going to the same party. So at what point did, first of all, Whitney, what were you thinking? And then Donovan, did you ask her, tell me what transpired after that?
You start.
We had little conversation after that. And so we ended up, I was a psychology major. And so I had a psychology class. This might've been 2-3 days later. And so I go to psychology class and our professor shares that you can go to a different class period on a certain day if you want to be done with your day earlier. So I went to the class period before on Fridays, so I could just be done early on Fridays. And who's in that class period? This guy. And so we had a mutual friend who would come to class with us. And so all of a sudden our mutual friend stopped showing up to class. And so
it was just the two of us in class. Yeah. And honestly, that's really when we became friends.
Uh-huh.
And that was the beginning of our friendship. We would have some good conversations. We got in trouble a lot in that class, actually.
Yeah.
Whitney got a boyfriend. When I first got to school, I had a girlfriend. Why it was so easy for us to become friends. So Whitney started dating a guy that we knew. And, she kind of just was doing her relationship thing. I was enjoying college. We were friends most of that time, but we kind of just, separated, didn't really have too much interaction after the psychology class. So that was like our sophomore year that we really didn't talk to each other at all during the time period. And then one day was that junior year?
No, that was the end of sophomore year.
We ended up running into each other and had lunch together and remembered why we were such good friends. The conversation was amazing. And we kind of picked right back up where we left off.
So at that point, I'm assuming you both are single, and then.
Yep, we're both single. And I mean, we did the whole I'm in college talking, but not dating thing for like what, a year and a half, 2 years almost.
Because I was a hard-headed guy. I was trying to have some fun in college, didn't want to be tied down. And, we really were just exploring that time, having some fun. But back in my mind, I always knew that she would always be around.
So when did you guys get married?
1 year later from the proposal. So
I want to hear about that. So how was it?
Proposal? It was just so romantic. No, I tried to have like a little nostalgic feel to it. So some of our earlier memories were in Whitney's hometown of Columbia. What I did, I set up a scavenger hunt with some of our old dates, and did it via video. So I sent her a video message and said, this is your step. Whenever you get to this place, let me know that you figured it out. And then when you do, send me a message and I'll give you your next clue. So she went through that. So we had one of our first dates was at the zoo during Christmas time. So I set it up to where I talked to some of the people who worked at the zoo at the desk. And when she got to the zoo, they had her clue waiting on her. So she got that clue. It sent her to another place. Eventually she got to a place where she had some clothes waiting for her to get dressed. And then she made it to her final destination where we had one of our best dates. Really, our whole situation, one of the things that's been so amazing for us is we can just have the best conversations. Just that open, honest communication that we have is really one of the pillars of our relationship. And this place, we just had conversation for hours on a bench after having some ice cream. So it just made sense for that to be the last place where she would make it to. And then my family was there, her family was there. And I just, gave her my best game. And she was like,
"You so dramatic."
But no, that was really a special moment. That's how we.
Oh, that's beautiful. So Whitney, I want to hear from your perspective. How was it?
Yeah, so he set it up like it was supposed to be just a date. So he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have this date and we're gonna do a scavenger hunt to get to it." And I actually really just went along with that. I mean, that wasn't super far out of his character to plan a scavenger hunt for a date. And so I really didn't figure out what was going on until I got to the ice cream place and I saw all of our family there. So that piece was really nice. But in retrospect, I'm like, I totally should have figured it out. My mom was definitely like, "Oh, you have to get your hair done. Oh my gosh, you have to go get your nails done." And I was like, "Oh, they don't have an appointment." "Oh, we will find an appointment." And so she was so adamant about these things that I should have figured it out, but I didn't. And I mean, that piece was, I think, probably the best part of it. I really wanted to be surprised when I got engaged, and I really was.
Oh, I think this proposal takes the cake on all the ones I've heard. This sounds like a lot of planning was involved. And so how many stops did you have planned out, Donovan?
There were 3.
So is it customary for you to go to her family to talk to them before you propose? Did you have to do that? Obviously to get them all together, but.
Yeah, I just did it out of respect. That was something that I always wanted to make sure I followed the steps that I learned growing up. So I spoke with her father before I moved from Houston, which was 6 months before I actually proposed to her, but I just knew, right? I wanted to have that face-to-face conversation with them because I knew I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I spoke with her mother sometime before, and she was helping me find the ring and all of that stuff as well, because we have a really good relationship. So all of that stuff just kind of flowed naturally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, I love that. So I know you guys are Christians. At least I got that from Donovan's interview with Kiana.
Mhm.
So I want to explore a little bit about how your relationship works, given that you're it is a Christ-centered relationship.
Now, I will say that it takes a lot of patience, because we both can be stubborn at times.
Mhm.
So sometimes we know what to do, but we
Mhm.
don't always immediately do it.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Over our years, but it just, we have that foundation, so we always end up back in that space. But you have to be intentional about it, and it's not always easy.
Yeah, I think it's really important to note for us that learning how to disagree was something that we had to learn to do early. And we did that through our marriage counseling through church. Really just understanding what it meant to have a disagreement, but not try to hurt the person that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that Donovan didn't really argue. It just wasn't his thing. And so for us to disagree, was very much like, okay, well, I need to get you riled up. I need to get you into this space that I'm in right now. And so when we really took it and looked at it as the whole goal of a disagreement is for us to figure out where we're going to go and actually have some traction and move forward. And so when it was no longer about who's going to win or who's going to have the biggest blow, it was so easy to really just move forward and say, yeah, actually, I don't agree with this. How can we continue to figure out what's going to be the next step or what's the direction we're going to move in? Because we weren't trying to hurt each other. We genuinely knew we're moving in the direction that's best for us.
What are some of the annoyances that you deal with from each other?
Going first?
Sure. I can go first. So Donovan leaves the lights on. And so we laugh a lot about it because we used to watch Everybody Hates Chris. And so I'll be like, that's 32 cents. The electric that you're letting go out right now. And so, but yeah, that is like one of the bills that I pay. And so oftentimes I'll pick on him. I'm like, it's because it's not the bill that you pay that you don't think about it. But
100%. 100%.
Like, I need you to cut off these lights. So that is definitely one of the things that he does. The other thing I would say is that he can be he likes to talk a lot, even though he's like really shy in front of other people and to a certain extent. And so he will wait until I am like actively doing something and just go on a whole spree of questions and talking. And it's like, babe, I'm just trying to get this done real quick. Like, can I have 5 minutes? And he's like, sure. So then I was wondering about. So those would be my two.
Yeah, that's good. And mine is she ignores me.
When you want to talk to her?
Yeah, I want to talk and she'll ignore me. So I would say, yeah, that was the main one. Yeah, sometimes I'm trying to have a conversation with her and she'll just be hyper focused on something and not ignore me. And my biggest thing is like, okay, just tell me you're doing something. But she's gotten a lot better at that.
It's fixed your quality time, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Like that quality time. Yeah.
That's 100% it. We had to do something called phone jail.
Oh, what is that?
Yeah, we take our phones and we put them in a cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
That we can have uninterrupted time. And I have to ask for that sometimes because her focus will be in other places. But because we know that's a thing that bothers me, we try to be intentional and like, okay, do what you got to do for this. But at 9 o'clock, we're going in phone jail for the rest of the night. We'll go ahead and
I
make our
like
call,
that.
people, and focus on each other.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I think part of it, honestly, is like why quarantine wasn't that challenging for us in the beginning, because we had seasons where we would be like, yep, so this weekend, like phones are in phone jail. We're talking to nobody but the people in this house. And so, we figure out when we need to do that, when we feel like something's a little off or our attention has been taken up with work or other things that may just have priority in that moment. And we definitely, just like he said, we call everybody, hey, y'all, phone jail this weekend. And so they know, yep, we get on my call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Share with other people too. That's a very important point. I like that. Yeah. So on the flip side of that, what are one or two things that you absolutely love about each other?
You were ready, so go ahead and do your thing.
So Donovan is probably one of the most considerate people that I've ever met. He's super considerate. And I think he just does an amazing job of anticipating needs. Honestly, like before I even realize I need them sometimes. And so he can be like, yep, so at the end of this week, you need to relax. Like, what is it that you want, or what is it that you need to do? Do you want uninterrupted time to watch Food Network? Like, what is because I already know how this week is going to go. And so sometimes I'll be like, I'm totally fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm really good. And then by Friday, I'm like, so is that offer still on the table? Like, so yeah, I think he's really considerate. He really studies, I would say everybody, but he's probably going to say, I really study you. But I think he really studies people, and he does a really great job of just saying, like, this is what this person needs in the moment. Can I provide it? If I can, I plan to do so.
Oh, that's very sweet.
I know. I have to make you some dessert.
Okay.
So that's a couple things with Whitney, and also because she's growing so much every day, different things are highlighted. So in the phase that we're in right now, it would be easy for me to say she's the best mother in the world. Like, she's my daughter's best friend. And she's so intentional in being the best mother, building that relationship. But if I look at it on a grander scheme, that's what she does in every aspect of life, right? She really just goes all in and tries to give it 100%. And it always just ends up working so well, right? She took on, really got deep into cooking. And now she's, a crazy cook. She always could do well in the kitchen, but now she's on another level. She took up baking, and now the best chocolate cake you've ever had in your life comes from this house, right? Red velvet cheesecake comes from this house, and has even inspired me because, I do pretty well in the kitchen as well nowadays, but really I get it from Whitney. So just the way that she takes on things and just gives it 100%, I think that's something that I've always admired. And to the point where it's not even a pressure because I have to be the best. It's just because I love this thing and I want to pour my all into it. Be that in everything that she does.
I want to hear from you guys if you have any tips or advice for like single people that are looking for love. What can they do to end up, finding love like you guys did?
That's a really good question. I think I won't be an expert on where to find it, but I can say the things that help you foster it. Once you do have a relationship, and even being the person that's not necessarily worth being in a relationship, but comfortable in yourself enough that you have equity in yourself that you don't necessarily need someone, and that same equity in the person that you end up dating, that really makes you an equal pair.
Mm-hmm.
But just a few things that have been helped us in our marriage. Being equally yoked is what we call it. So our faith is really important to us. So being on the same wavelength as far as our faith journey has helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying you have to be exactly in the same place, but you need to be able to see each other and understand the perspectives and be going towards the same goal spiritually. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I see is really important.
Yeah, I would add in thinking around being open. So like when Donovan and I met, I didn't talk to him on the cat bus because I was like, he's not my type. And so very much it was like, I don't know why he's talking to me because he's not my type. And I think for me, one, I was young. I had a lot of stuff to work through individually, understanding what a type was and all of those types of things. But what I've learned is that had I been so superficial to just like automatically write them off, like I'd be missing out on one of the biggest blessings in my life. And so I think just being really open to whatever love may look like, even if it does not necessarily show up how you necessarily anticipated showing up.
Yeah. That's really good. It does hurt a little though.
You knew
good.
talk about this.
No, I'm just joking. Now I'm the only type you want.
That's all right.
Yeah. That one's really good. And one thing that's been very important for me, just from an intentionality standpoint, is consistency. Like Whitney mentioned, it wasn't out of my character to put a scavenger hunt together for a date. That's one thing that's been something that I've always tried to do, be creative. And he does the same thing for me. It's really easy to do that in the early stages. You know, we've known each other since 2008. Also easy for, after that amount of time to become complacent, right? So being consistent in, those efforts that you had in the early days, still doing those same things, and being able to notice that, is that the type of person that I want. You should be able to, you'll see those signs fairly early.
Right. And added to that, growing together, right?
Oh yeah.
The people that we were in 2008, we're not those people anymore. And so being able to also recognize what growth looks like as you are continuously still showing up for each other in the best ways as well.
That is so nicely said. I love it. I love it. Is there a question that you were hoping I would ask, or something that you want to share, as it relates to relationships and also maybe for single people?
Well, one other thing that I was going to mention is one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is because God has blessed us so much in our relationship and our growth. And we want to be able to be a blessing to other people by sharing our experiences. So we just started a joint Instagram page. It's called From the Williams. And we'll be sharing a lot more stories like this. And I think it's really cool where we are, because I've always been a really private person, much on social media. So it's really a new world for us. But we're already seeing people, mention how our relationship has been inspiring them. They've been getting tidbits from it. They see how much fun we have together, and it's inspired them. Which that does lead me to one other thing that I would mention about dating. Continue to have fun. Whitney, as we talked about in our story, we were friends for a long time before we started dating, which allowed us to learn how to have fun together. And that's something that has always been a pillar for us, not to be so serious, not to be so stuck in the daily grind, but really remember to enjoy each other.
Right.
And that's something that we want to be able to show as well. So our Instagram is going to show some of that stuff. And we also have a couple other things that we're going to be doing. But you'll be able to see all of that on the From the Williams page.
Yeah, I think added to that, it's really good to find a relationship that is best suited for you, and to make that relationship individualized for you and the person that you're in it with. I think right now, also in the age of social media, right, it's so easy to see so many relationships and be like, oh, we need to do that. Oh, we need to be like that. Oh, that's the energy. And I mean, even as we were doing our quote unquote research, to see what would our page look like, it was so easy to be like, oh, should we take pictures like this, or should we make videos like this? And we were like, we got to do what's us. Mm-hmm. And we got to just be ourselves. And that's what people are going to interact with. That's what we hope people want to engage with, just authenticity and, you know, us showing up how we show up. So I think that's also very much true for people in your relationship. You can't try and show up in a certain way, hoping that that's what the person wants. You got to show up how you are, and that person has to show up how they are. And then that's what's going to make that relationship click. And if it's not for them, that's okay too. Like, you got to walk away, and the person that it is for is going to come when it's supposed to be there.
Yeah. I like that. I just shared an episode that got released, was today, the second, so yesterday, where she talked about, you know, it's two whole people coming together. Yes. And, you know, when it's two whole people, not like, you know, how they say you complete me, meaning I'm half and you're half and then we become one. Like, no, it's two whole people. And if you have your own happiness and, you know, the other person has their own happiness, and you come together and you can just, like, you know, propel each other from there. And you don't have to rely on the other person to give you that happiness or to do those things that, you know, that you feel like you need.
Like, I'm so excited that you do this, and just not only, you know, share it for people who are trying to figure out what does my love journey look like, but also for those that are in the midst of their love journey. Like, it was refreshing, I think, also just for us to sit here and, you know, share out some of that information and reminisce a little.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for listening, and all the way to the end. I am genuinely so grateful. So now you can continue to show your support in a few different ways. The first one is, if you can think of someone who might benefit from this episode, please send it to them. And the second thing is, we all are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and the like. So please share this episode. And I love it when people tag me to their post. And 3, head over to iTunes. You can leave a review and you can rate this episode. All your feedback is very helpful, and it helps this podcast get visible so others can listen to all these great stories. Thank you so much. Till next time.